What's up, everybody? This is another show I'm doing tonight. It's Friday. Let me turn this Cavaliers Toronto Raptors game. I think it's game 6. Whatever it is. The Cavs are winning by 18 points. Third quarter, 4 minutes left. Cavs are gonna freaking win. I guarantee the Cavaliers are gonna win and go to the finals. And I want the Cavs to go to the finals. I'll probably bet on them when the finals start. So this show is my another countdown show, another edition of my countdown show. This is a top 5, not a top 10. Sometimes I might do top 20s or top 15s, but for now I'm going to keep it to top 10s and top 5s. This show is the top 5 wrestling factions, in my opinion. Top 5 groups, factions, whatever you want to call them. This is my list. This is the countdown. Hope you enjoy it. Top 5 wrestling factions, in my opinion. Number 5 is the Nation of Domination. I'm talking about Farouk, D'Lo Brown, The Rock, Kama Mustafa, and I said D'Lo Brown. So it's Farouk, D'Lo, The Rock, Kama Mustafa. Basically, then he became the Godfather in '98 when they started calling him the Godfather. Number 5, even in 1996, towards the end of the year, the Nation was a pretty controversial group at the time in '96. It was pretty controversial to do that group. But when The Rock joined, in my opinion, they got a lot better. And then eventually The Rock would turn on Farouk and basically take over the Nation. And then for some reason they had Owen Hart, fantastic talent on the microphone and in the ring. Owen Hart, for some reason, joined the Nation. Because I don't know why. They wanted to, I don't get it. They wanted a white guy from Canada to join 3 other black guys. It was weird. But whatever. Owen Hart, he did his job. He did the best he could in the Nation of Domination, and Owen Hart was a pretty good member, but he didn't fit that well, in my opinion. But he did the best he could with it. I guess they had nothing for Owen Hart creatively, so they just threw him in the Nation, and didn't really work, in my opinion. So, the Nation of Domination faction is my number 5. My number 4 is D-Generation X. I'm talking about either sides of DX. There was Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Rick Rude, Chyna. They came in together. They were damn good together. That's one of my favorite additions, I guess, of DX. Also, you had then the second incarnation of D-Generation X, where 1, 2, 3 Kid, X-Pac, returned to WWF in '98. He joined DX, joined his friend Triple H, and then Billy Gunn and Road Dogg, they were already in DX in '98 as the New Age Outlaws. And they were with Chyna. So New Age Outlaws, X-Pac, Triple H, Chyna, that was a damn good addition of DX. And then in 2000 was even a good addition when you had, I guess DX combined themselves with the McMahon Helmsley era, or whatever the hell they were called. Basically, it was DX, X-Pac, Triple H, New Age Outlaws, and Tori and Stephanie. That was another addition of DX. But Stephanie kind of wasn't in there. But she was hanging around with Triple H all the time. Because in a storyline, they got married. So my number 4 is D-Generation X. Even another edition of DX in 2016 when they came back. Shawn Michaels, Triple H, by themselves. They were damn good and pretty entertaining. Number 3, faction my favorite number 3 faction of all time in wrestling, the Four Horsemen. I'm talking about Ric Flair, Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard. I wasn't a fan of Ole Anderson. The guy's a fucking racist piece of shit, and I just wasn't a fan of his ever. I'm sure he had a good mind for the business. I still wasn't a fan of him. I was more of a fan of the Horsemen with Barry Windham when Ole Anderson went bye-bye because he didn't want to be there anymore. He snapped and got fired. I don't know what happened. But they brought in Barry Windham in 1988. They brought him in. And the Horsemen with Lex Luger, a part of them, that I wasn't a fan of Lex Luger in the Horsemen. But I was a fan of Barry Windham in the Horsemen with Arn Anderson, Tully Blanchard, and Ric Flair. That was a damn group of Horsemen. Barry Windham, great worker. Ric Flair, great. Arn Anderson was great. Tully Blanchard was great. Arn and Tully were probably one of the greatest, one of the best, most technical tag teams in the 80s, in my opinion. They were damn good. And they were WCW NWA Tag Champs also in 88. Before they would leave at the end of 88, and they actually would show up and go to the WWF. And at Survivor Series 88 is when we saw Tully and Arn Anderson. That was our first WWF pay-per-view. Debut, appearance, whatever you want to call it. My number 3, again, is the Four fucking Horsemen. They were awesome. Even when Sid joined in 1990, people did not like that. When Sting was in, I guess Sting was a Horseman for a little bit, but they ended up kicking him out. Ole Anderson returned. They kicked Sting out of the Horsemen, beat him down, and then Sid joined. Even Sid in the Horsemen, I was still a fan of them. But I was not a fan of Ole Anderson in the Horsemen. And even Paul Roma in the Horsemen, that sucked. And Steve McMichael in the Horsemen, that's what I think of him being in the Horsemen. Dean Malenko was good. Benoit was good. So from 96 until 99, the Horsemen were pretty good. But they didn't need Steve McMichael. My number 2 favorite faction in wrestling is the Clique. I'm talking about backstage. They were known as a Clique. Damn good workers, and they were all damn good friends. I'm talking about Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and Sean Wadman, a.k.a. X-Pac, 6-Pac, 1-2-3 Kid, whatever you want to call them. The Clique is my number 2 favorite faction, even though they weren't all together on TV as a group. They're still my favorite faction. Because they did a lot of damn good things. When Scott Hall, Kevin Nash went to WCW, they took over and were top guys in WCW, and Triple H and Shawn Michaels were still top guys in WWF, especially into 97, 98. So, my number 1 favorite faction of all time, the NWO, the New World Order. I'm talking about the team of Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, Ted DiBiase, and Syxx. That was my favorite edition of the NWO. You could even say Hogan, Hall, and Nash by themselves before Bischoff even joined. Those 3 by themselves joining up together in July of 96. That was epic. That was some fucking great storyline of the Outsiders coming in at Bash at the Beach 96. Kevin Nash, Scott Hall as the Outsiders kept saying on TV that they had a third man. A third man was coming to be their partner to basically go to war with WCW. And the third man was revealed as Hulk Hogan. He shocked the world. The NWO was fucking revolutionary. It changed the business forever. I mean, at the time, you had the WWF. When the NWO started in July 96, in my opinion, the WWF sucked. What they were doing was not very good. The best thing that they did in 96 was, I guess, the Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12. Also in the summer, King of the Ring, they had Stone Cold Steve Austin win it. He cut the awesome Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass promo. That was good stuff. And then Shawn Michaels as WWF champion. That was good because I was a big time Shawn Michaels fan. I'm still a fan of his, but back in 96 he was my favorite wrestler. So Stone Cold winning King of the Ring, Shawn Michaels as champion, and the Iron Man match at WrestleMania 12 was good, and the Undertaker and Mankind feud was good in 96, and that is it. That's all the WWF did that was interesting and entertaining in my opinion. Also, you had Sid win the WWF Championship at Survivor Series. That was pretty shocking, and that was good. But other than that, when the NWO started, I mean, and they kept coming out on Nitros and raising hell, and the entire WCW roster was trying to fight them, and some of them got taken out by the NWO with baseball bats backstage. And then you had the announcers afraid of the NWO. When their music would hit, it was damn funny. Bobby Heenan on Nitros in 96. When their music would hit, Bobby Heenan would go, he would say this, he'd go, "See ya!" Oh, that is funny as hell. Just revolutionary. What the NWO did was fucking revolutionary, awesome television, entertaining as hell. And the NWO storyline, and after it started, made WCW number one. It made them kick Raw's ass for, I think, 82 or 83 weeks in a row. So the NWO changed the business, and they made the WWF change their programming, because in the 97 they went and did the Attitude Era and started doing the Attitude Era, where a lot of their stuff got much better, and it wasn't just all booked for fucking kids and stupid cartoonish characters. So WWF in 97, they might even have the better in-ring product, in my opinion, than WCW. I was always a WWF guy, so I'm biased, but I will admit the NWO kicked WWF's ass for about 2 years. Because of the NWO, WCW and Nitro kicked Raw's fucking ass for 2 years because of that storyline. It felt real when Scott Hall invaded. It felt real when he said, "We're going to war," or "You wanted a war, you got one." And he says on the mic, "You don't know why I'm here." Nobody knew. It felt real as hell. The storyline, the NWO storyline, the entire build-up was booked fucking A+. It was booked tremendous. And I believe Bischoff came up with the NWO storyline and the booking of it. Bischoff and Kevin Sullivan, who was booking at the time, Eric Bischoff and Kevin Sullivan talked Hulk Hogan into turning heel because he didn't want to do it. He was afraid to do it because he was babyface for so long. So anyways, the NWO is my number one favorite faction of all time. I could tell you many more reasons why, but I don't really feel like it. Again, here's my top 5 favorite wrestling factions. Number 5, Nation of Domination, including The Rock. Number 4, D-Generation X, the many incarnations of DX. I wasn't really a fan of DX in 2000. They were kind of lame by then. And even in 99, DX kind of broke up, and it was Triple H. Or it was Billy Gunn in China against Road Dogg and X-Pac they were fighting over the DX name. That was not that good. But as a group, I was a fan of DX and what they did. DX was also pretty damn revolutionary because they started the "we got 2 words for you, suck it." They started that whole thing. And the crowd, the fucking young males that watched WWF at the time, the Attitude Era audience, fucking that suck it, that caught on like wildfire. That was super over. I went to Over the Edge in '98 pay-per-view. New Age Outlaws, when they did their thing on the mic, did all their catchphrases, we're the World Tag Team Champions of the world. And then Billy Gunn would grab the mic, say, "I got 2 words for you," and then the entire crowd loved DX. At least when I was at the show, live in '98. At Over the Edge in '98. The entire crowd loved DX, and they loved Stone Cold also. Anyways, number 3, the 4 Horsemen. Number 2 is the Clique. X-Pac, Kevin Nash, or whatever, Sean Waltman I'll call him. Shawn Michaels, Scott Hall, Kevin Nash, Triple H. And Justin Credible was also a part of the Clique before they broke up. He was in their group also. But number 1, favorite faction, top 5, number 1 is the NWO for life. That's all I gotta say. This was my top 5 wrestling factions. Hope you enjoyed it. This was another edition of the Countdown. Bye for now, everybody.